talk about the things that mean so much to you, like going to a restaurant or hanging at the zoo. Clothes and sports and funny news, crafts and travel too. Nothing ever scripted, so expect the unexpected.
Hello,
Buenos dias.
hello.
Aloha.
It's the Teddy Penny Walla Walla Talk Show. It's the Teddy Penny Walla Walla Talk Show. It's the Teddy Penny Walla Walla Talk Show.
Hi, welcome to our show. It's Tuesday, April 9th, 2019. It's episode 80. And I'm here with Paula Walla and our special guest today, JC Whitelaw. Hey, JC Whitelaw. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
What does JC stand for?
Actually, it's my first name, John Campbell. JohnCampbell
Campbell,
is my whole first name.
Oh.
It's not John, and then Campbell is my middle. It's all one first name.
It's not Jaysee.
Sometimes. Depends on the cocktail.
Well, JC is with JC and the Disciples. They have a new album out this year, Hammered.
It's true.
And tell us a little bit about Hammered.
I'll give you the edited version. I started recording it back in 2017, February. It was time to make a record, and there was a lot of personal stuff going on. Crazy stuff, actually, which we'll maybe talk about, maybe we won't. No matter. Called up Jimmy Sparks, who you know very well.
My drummer
Your
as
drummer
well.
as well.
Everyone's drummer.
And Jim McGarrian. And they're like, well, what are we playing? And I'm like, well, come to this place. And a really dear personal friend of mine was an attorney for an estate, for the Froelich estate in Grosse Pointe. Now, that means nothing. But a serious supporter of the arts. And this home that he had actually donated to the Detroit Symphony Orchestra.
Is it the home right here, this brick one?
Nope.
Oh.
Not that one.
Oh, we're going to talk about that for sure. That's some
Not
beautiful
that
artwork.
home. That's another home.
So, yeah.
I was going to say, it seemed windy.
No, this is so it's this gorgeous mansion, but it was laying empty because the DSO had given it back and then decided they were putting it up for sale. And so, huge rooms, and so I got a chance to walk through it because I'm into architecture and stuff like that.
Did you stay there?
I didn't live there, but I did move in for quite a while to
Is it
record
haunted?
this record. As a matter of fact, it was.
Oh,
no
see, I
question.
had a
There's no
feeling.
question it was, and I was there from February to September. Like and I'd have a few hours. I'd go cut a guitar track or go cut a vocal track or
That
to
sounds
build.
like fun.
It was. I was really, really, really fortunate to have the opportunity to do that, and all the sounds on that record are all organic. So like it's not all digital reverbs and stuff. I had microphones everywhere. So when you smack the snare drum, I had microphones out in the foyer and captured all that tone. And then I mixed at Plymouth Rock Productions in Plymouth. So
Well,
then we
you're
took all
a
those elements and-
an audio specialist
Yeah.
engineer.
Yep.
So how did you spend way too much time editing this audio? I mean, I'm just imagining that. How did you
I
let it go?
I spent a lot of time getting the initial sounds, but when I actually went for like a take, they went really fast. The actual keeper recordings, I spent more time developing the sound before it went to tape. So
Right. Okay.
so it took a while, but it was, and I was still trying to. I approached the record too in a way that I'd never approached before. Was usually I had songs completed, finished, and this wasn't like that. I had a whole bunch of melody, and I had a whole idea, concept of this record, because really that's what it is. It's not just 12 songs. It kind of tells a whole story.
Right. And I'd read that. I mean, I know a lot of the lyrics are really deep, and that you had gone through something horrific, but
So you are dialed in with that. Okay,
I
didn't want to shock you.
well, tell us about each song and how they're different.
How they're different. Well,
Different chords.
different. It starts with different keys.
But
It's very
no.
luscious.
Did you try to
sounding, I
light-
just want to say.
did you try to lighten it
Buttery
up,
and
or-
luscious.
Thank you.
Didn't you try to lighten it up some of them
Actually no. I didn't make the record honestly, and this is going to sound really selfish, but I didn't make the record. I made it because I just needed to make a record.
Okay.
And I needed to just vent what I needed to vent and write what I wanted to write. Plus, I was going through a lot of changes in my head. I mean, we're talking directly about murder. I had to deal with that, and it was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's shocking, and it's a terrible thing, and I don't wish it on anybody. But it was it's my reality. It's what happened. So about 2 years after the process, I'm like trying to write, and my partner and love of my life, Rosalie, hi Rob, was like, you got to play. You got to do something. You got to do something except, instead of just going to work and drinking all the time, which is
Get out of the house.
Yeah, you know what?
She's trying to get you out of the house.
I got to do something.
Which is actually the double entendre of the title of this, because I did drink quite a bit during that period, and it was okay because it loosened me up to think in different ways. And going back to the actual compositions was, I'd had melody but nothing really written, and I just turned on the microphone, turned on the tracks, because I'd had that all in my head to be able to do that. But I didn't know what I was going to say, and I just hit go, and things just started coming out of my mouth, and then I'd go back and say, oh, that was pretty good. So I'd take a line here or take a line there, and then it kind of built it that way, which was a really interesting process.
So you weren't on an hourly rate.
No, and I didn't have to worry about time.
Yeah, 'cause
I didn't
that's
have to worry
the
about
thing
the
with-
clock. It was just like, okay, you can work until you're too tired or too smashed to keep working.
I want to do that, but like in Jamaica.
This was
Yeah.
a great place to do it in this particular house. So thank you, Mr. Blanca.
That,
was
yeah,
amazing.
I would love to have the time to do that. I mean, I have garage bands, so I can take my time at home, but I would love to go in a studio like on an island or something like, famous bands do. They rent an island and
They go down to like Montserrat. Well, they used to for Martin, George Martin. Built a whole studio in
I
Montserrat.
can't imagine Paula
Released it.
in
I
a
could-
secluded environment becoming creative. I think you would be like, "Where's the party?"
I know, but you bring everyone with you and party and
Oh, okay.
And then
Then
you don't get work done.
I'm there. I'm so there.
awesome.
You come for a visit. I had a lot of visitors that came by and checked out. Like Billy Brandt came by, and I became a good friend of mine and in the business. And, Johnny Evans came by. It was fun because people would walk up to the door and be like, "What the hell's going on? How are you even here?" It's like, "Come on in."
Is there a gate they have to? Like, be
No,
let
there
in
wasn't
through
a
the
gate, but it is kind of tucked away in a back road that's actually named after the guy. who
Well,
owned
tell
it.
us about the artwork on this CD cover,
Cool.
because there's some beautiful stuff. Like
Thanks.
this house, that's got to be in Ireland or something.
It's actually in Scotland.
Oh, okay,
It
thank
is.
you.
It's called Kilchurn Castle. And it was one of the Campbell clan's castles, and it's right at the north end of a place called Loch Awe.
And then, is this the same castle?
Same castle. There's just further
That's
back.
So beautiful.
So you went there.
I did, and there's a story behind that too. And then that's when you're looking out from the top of Kilchurn Castle out at Loch Awe.
Beautiful.
So were you inspired by this castle?
Well, my dad's and both my parents are right off the boat from Scotland. So, and then they had my sister and I immigrated to Canada. Had my sister and me, and then we immigrated to the United States mid to late 70s. But my dad was a real character.
And you came straight to Michigan, the Detroit
Yeah,
area?
came from first in Canada for good 12 years of my life, first part of it, and then to Michigan. Yeah, I've lived other places, but this has always been the really second home.
Great. Well, I read that your dad encouraged you to play, or he challenged you
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
play.
He was definitely really supportive, and he was a legend in his own world. He was a commercial artist. So you're familiar with the Mad Men show?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was one of those guys back in the day, and a real character and a wonderful
What
guy.
company did he work for here?
He actually worked for a bunch. He worked for Campbell Ewald. He worked for his actual initial was a place called Willen's Typesetting, because he was a lettering artist. As a matter of fact, one of their accounts was Motown, and that M, the later M, Motown.
Great.
That's my dad. He did that.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. And a really cool character. And that actually, it goes fast forward into the the question which you asked me, and then I went left because I lost my mind for a second.
What about him encouraging you to
Yeah.
play
So
an
being
instrument?
an artist, and that was his thing, and that's what he did. And I wanted to play guitar, like from the youngest of age. But they would never give me one up until I think it was 11 or so. Hi.
Okay, just checking if you're recording.
Yep.
Okay.
Are we recording?
Yes.
You never know who's going to pop in. Uh-oh. Okay,
Anyway,
so when did you start playing? When did you pick up your first...
I
Where'd you
actually
get it?
picked up my friends' guitars all the time and stuff like that. So I was always trying to figure out how to play. The deal is that he said, well, if you're going to do music seriously, then you've got to learn how to read music, and you're going to play a brass instrument. And because he was he played trumpet, not well at all, but he figured it would,
Right.
give me the inspiration.
So
to
did you play
work for something?
Did you play a brass
So I
instrument?
did. I took up trumpet. I played for a year. I got through it. I showed him that I could read it. He came to see the band concert at junior high.
And he said, all right, we're getting your guitar.
And then Christmas, I got my first guitar and never touched the trumpet again.
It's
a
hard
shame.
to do those blowy
So
instruments.
it's like it's like the trick you were teaching me earlier. With the...
Oh, the yoga thing. We won't talk about
Hey,
that.
we just had Galen McKinney on, and she was talking to us about what was the instrument she used to play.
Oh,
she used to play
saxophone.
saxophone, and said that now she can only play for 5 minutes at a time because her lips are out of shape.
Right.
The
You gotta have your
aperture.
embouchure.
Aperture.
Embouchure.
Embouchure. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't blow it. I couldn't blow it.
So rhythm and blues, Motown, Americana, rock and roll. Who are some great artists you've played with?
Can we... Paula? Played with Paula?
No, I'm not.
Yes.
I stepped on your glasses at our last show together.
It's okay. My bass player
With my-
spilled a beer on your case.
Yes. Well, I had my
that's
boot
expected.
on, my surgery boot, and I'm like, man, I heard something crunch, and I'm like, oh,
My
crap, I'm
glasses
so sorry.
crunch. I'm like, shit, no, I can't read. I mean, shoot.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, is there
No,
a...
it's okay.
Do you have
It's
a
okay.
beeper?
We're good. We did.
Sorry.
No,
One
that's okay.
One slips. Sorry.
This guy.
Oh, well. So, yeah.
So you were...
Anita Baker you've played with?
Yeah, actually, I did some session work for her through a producer friend of mine had called me into... He actually helped produce my very first record, which was back in 95-ish. It's a very Americana kind of sounding record. We called it folk rock then, before you... Now they called it Americana because folk rock was too much like the F word or something. I don't know.
Really? Is that why they switched it?
I think so.
Huh.
I don't know.
People are jerks.
I just thought it was a new genre or something.
It came out of nowhere. I think anything that's got jangly guitars and a lot of vocal and whatever, I call it folk rock. I still do, but they call it Americana. It's more palatable because they think folk rock is like kumbaya, right?
But you can't play Americana like in England.
You can't?
I don't know, because it's England.
Acano.
Oh, that was bad. I attempted a bad joke.
Is that what? Did I fall for it?
You did.
So I've just Johnny B is probably one of my favorite guys I've ever worked with, and we had a band called Broken Toys.
I remember Broken Toys.
Yeah, that was a great time. That we did that for about 5 years before it imploded, which is usually how long it lasts before you lose your mind.
Johnny's a great guy. He was on our show.
Oh, yeah.
We
I
could
think I
have
watched
had
it.
5 shows.
Oh
with
yeah,
him.
you could do 10, 20.
Yeah, we had a show prior to the show in the lobby talking, and then when we hit stop, he kept going. I'm like, we should have had another show. He's got an amazing story.
Oh, and a billion of them.
Yeah.
A billion stories. He'll tell you, and you'll never hear the same one twice.
And he remembers details.
Yep.
Like, man, I forget a lot of stuff from my past.
Yeah, no, amazingly he does remember. But yeah, it was a blast working with Johnny, writing with Johnny, and Johnny B, you still taught me time. He taught me how to count to 4 like nobody's business, because his right foot is just
Dead on.
bump, 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 and not for like a song or two. It's like for an hour and a half.
Yeah, he's a human metronome.
Yeah, he really is. He's got a little bit of swing between 3 and 4, but he's awesome and taught me because as guitar players,
Well, we just follow the drummer.
we trying to just kind of float
Yeah.
around and whatever when we're playing by ourselves. You can always tell when the tempo drifts, right? Now that it's like Johnny's always in my head, so I'll be forever grateful to him for that.
And now, what about Ashcan Van Gogh? I love that name. Who thought of that?
Thank you. A friend of Billy Brandt. So Ashcan Van Gogh was Mary McGuire.
I love her.
Yeah, me too. And Billy Brandt, also love him. And I met Billy, I think it was 84, 85. And Billy had invited me to come and play with his group at the time. And we did, and then that kind of fizzled out after about a year or so. But I really liked working with Billy because we sang together really well. And I was like, I'm going to find us that third element. So we put an ad in the paper. This is Metro Times back in the day. Remember those?
That's
and
how
you used to.
I found the vertical pillows that way.
Right. And so we found Mary McGuire through an ad in the Metro Times, and we got together. And the first thing we sang together was like "Helplessly Hoping," and we're a very strong 3-part harmony group, and we hit it like from note one, and it was like, oh, this is it. This is great. We found it. We got it going. So we started playing together for a bit, and we're like, what are we going to call this thing? And Billy had an artist friend that was referring to something, a piece of art that he had seen, and called it looks like an ashcan Van Gogh. Then it turns out that there was this whole movement in New York called the Ashcan School. So I started looking up all that stuff, and it's all postmodern stuff. And I was like, that's the name. That's the name. And they're like, yeah, that'll work. And Billy will have to tell me who I'll see tomorrow.
Well, you have a CD release party coming up for your Hammered CD.
I do.
Where's that at?
That is going to be at the Cabbage Patch, which is this cool little bar in Grosse Pointe Park. It's right on Mac. Cool little place. Looking forward to it. That's May 18th, and it's going to be an early show. We're just going to run. We're going to start at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Play the record, and then hang out and drink with our friends.
Who else is in the band?
The core members of the Disciples are Jimmy Sparks, who and actually that's what I remembered from the earlier question was how did that they came into that house, but I'll maybe revisit that shortly. Jimmy Sparks, Jim McGarrian, bass player, and he was in Black Market for a million years.
Oh yeah,
right, and incredible talent, just really solid guy. And then as the process got a little deeper, I brought in Jim Drosbach, who used to work with Barbara Payton playing keyboards. And Jimmy came over to the house and started laying some stuff down, and I was like, you got to be in the band, because it was just the chemistry was right. So that's pretty much the core. Johnny Evans played sax on the record. Jimmy Romeo from DC Drive, Adrenaline.
Oh, yeah.
He played sax on the record. This team, Meg Brennan and Willie Wong, played horns on another track. So I mean, there's a whole variety of different players on it, but a lot of different horn players. And then the guy who plays with us mostly live is David Reinstein, but his name is actually Jimmy Reinstein because everybody in the band's name is Jimmy.
Oh, great!
Except for David Farrell. But yeah. So
That gets confusing.
So I was going to call them Band of Jimmys, but the Disciples just worked out so much better because of the JC thing. It was funny.
Are you thinking ahead to your next CD already?
Actually, this was supposed to be 24 songs.
Okay.
And the rhythm section, when we went in to record this stuff, they had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, G, C, D. Here's the pattern. Here's the rhythm. Go. And you know Jimmy Sparks. He goes with it. And I kind of sang a melody, but I had no lyric at the time. And it sounded like hell in the big room because it was just so reverb-y. But I knew that was going to work in the production. And they're like, well, what are we doing? Because they were freaked out. They didn't know where I was taking this. And so they kind of were like, okay, that's enough for now. Let's see what happens. But it took me like 2 years to finish it. So I'm betting they thought they were wishing we had done the other 12. The other 12 probably weren't all so related or so directly affected by the scenario or the situation. The drama, which is actually boring to me now, though. Because it's just like, but it's, goes back to that was reality. So, yes, to answer your question in a long way, yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing the next record, though I'm not taking 2 years to make it. We're cutting it in 2 weeks. Done, out the door.
I get too excited
finished.
when I record. I can't. 2 years would be freaking me out.
Yeah, well, and that's not that it was like because I was working on it every day. It's like I only had so much time. I've got 3 kids. I got to go take care of them. I got to work. I'm too tired. So I'd get to work in like 3 and 4 hour pieces, and then
So speaking of work, what's your day job?
There you go.
I'm very interested in your day job.
So I'm very fortunate to be a video producer for Henry Ford Health System Department of Surgery and Innovation Institute.
So do you film surgeries?
I do.
Like
I do.
live?
Like live.
Do you scrub in?
I don't have to scrub in, but because there's a field and I don't get inside that field, and that means when you're in the field, you're working on a person.
What are you filming them for?
Mostly education pieces. Like if they're trying a new procedure or a new tool or a new thing, this is how you do this.
So are you focused in like super far? Like there's no wide
no.
shot. There's no reason for a wide shot, right?
No. I mean, I'm in tight.
Yeah.
I'm in tight, and then on occasion I'll gown and make sure I'm gloved or covered and sterile, because obviously patient safety is our number one concern.
Right.
And we follow those rules to the letter, and that's why we have a very low infection rate at our hospital.
Has anything like grossed you out, like any certain kinds of surgery?
No.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I don't. And the cute story on that was when I first started working there, because I was actually brought in to produce an internal television program, but then they said, well, we need these images or these ideas, and we're going to ease you into it. So we're going to send you into a robotic surgery. And basically, that's laparoscopic. It's not like you hit a button and the robot does
Sounds like
the
a
job.
disco dance party.
Are people even in there when they're doing that?
Yeah, totally. It's all run by docs.
I am your doctor.
It's just the machines that they use are there's 3 and 4 little incisions, and they go in and it's like playing a video game, kinda, except you're working with a human being, and there was a whatever. So it's very cool and very Star Wars in a cool way, or Star Trek, I should say. But they take a long time because there's a lot of setup, and they got to get things in the right angles and la-di-da-di-da. So I'm in there for like 4
Oh my
hours
God, some
watching
surgeries are 10,
Oh yeah,
12
14
or more
hours.
hours.
Sure they are. And this one was whatever. It was.
You edit that down, right?
Oh, you have to watch every minute. No, yeah, absolutely. And that's part of my craft is I'm able to take that procedure and turn that into a 4-minute piece that you'll glean what you need to glean from it, and that's it. With obviously a doc, saying, "Hey, I only need to see this."
So have you filmed every kind of surgery, like from brain surgery to babies? Do you do babies?
No, I haven't done any children. You know what? And actually doing a kid might freak me out. Like,
What about a C-section? I had 2 C-sections.
I did. I haven't done any labor.
I'm
and
so glad
delivery
you weren't
stuff.
there.
Do you think from watching all this, you
Smile.
No, I was more like this.
Do you think from watching all this, you could perform surgery?
Right, you're an expert now. You're a doctor.
Not legally.
You could have like that dentist that had that
Paula's
basement
friend.
practice. And it wasn't my friend.
No. It's
That guy.
The guy that
did his
own dental work.
He went to Home Depot and got like stainless steel screws, and he screwed a tooth into yeah.
And a dentist saw it and said, "You did a pretty good job." Right?
Yeah, they did an X-ray, and they're like, "Oh, I see you had previous dental surgery."
You're kidding.
They did a good job. No, and he had my neighbor's kid hold the flashlight while he did it, and he like drank whiskey and screwed right into his skull.
We needed video of that.
Anyway,
we need video of that.
Yeah. So going back to the very first surgery, so they're trying to ease me in. They want to make sure that I don't get ill or weird about it.
They test your queasiness.
Yeah, kinda. And he said, because if you can't handle that, he's not going to be able to handle anything. And get him out of here, right? And I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is really fascinating. And these guys are brilliant. And they're doing their thing.
Gosh,
and they're brilliant how they're doing their job. And I'm like, okay, but I'm getting a little bored watching the little, watching him go like this. And they turned out the robot can't get to the spot where, and it's a heart surgery. They can't get to the spot that they're trying to work on, and so they go, okay, we're gonna have to do it traditional. So they pull out all the trocars, they pull out all the robot arms, and they crack them from here to here.
Oh, yikes!
And I was turned on like I could not believe it.
Wow!
Like in a way, like it was just remarkable to me.
You could make videos for your new album with some of the footage.
No, it's all
Yes.
it's all
Oh, wait.
private.
Can you make a video for Paula?
I know. I love watching medical
It's all
shows.
private. I can't share. Unfortunately, I can only share.
Can
with
you
them.
like have a bring your friend to work day and let me come in?
Yeah. So I had.
I wanna go.
I was doing an education
Chatty
piece.
Patty and Paula Walla.
Oh my
we'll
gosh!
sit there live
from
broadcast.
knee surgery.
So I brought another camera guy in to do a piece that we were working on tendon repair. So they brought in like 4 cadaver arms.
To
Oh,
practice.
to get the tendons out
Yeah,
of.
so
they use
they
tendons
were
out of them.
practicing on
Oh.
it, and we were filming them practicing and showing how it all works. Well, he went down. Boom.
Oh,
Oh, your partner. Oh my God.
He's like, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, because this wasn't even surgery. This was just like a cadaver
Practice.
arm.
Yeah.
And he
You're like, nope, you didn't pass.
Oh my
he
God.
turned gray. I felt, Andrew, I'm so sorry. I put you through
Okay,
that.
does it smell?
Cautery smells
Oh.
when they
Burn.
yeah. That's the only thing that tends to make people a little queasy or uncomfortable.
Does anyone on getting operated on, like, do they like start to go, oh, they like moan or anything, like become awake? Have you ever seen that?
No, never.
one of my guitar students just had hip replacement. And he said he woke up and he said to the doctor, "Am I supposed to be awake right now?" And they're like, "No." And they
Did they
Put
hit
him
him in
right
the
down.
head with a pan?
Not in my hospital.
Because I just had foot surgery, and right before I went under, I'm like, "Please make sure that I'm out before you cut my leg." And they're like, "We will." I'm like, for sure.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah, of course they will.
that's like old school for them.
It's
I
the
mean,
weirdest thing
it's
in the
rote
world.
for them. They just follow procedure, and they know what they're looking at. I mean, it's like playing guitar, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No. I mean, seriously, it's second nature to you, right?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
play G, C, D, you're doing your thing, right?
Right.
Same for them, except it's people.
Yeah.
And they're really conscious of the process. Now, if you break a D string on your guitar, no big deal.
Emergency string repair.
No big deal. Them, it's a much bigger deal. But
It's crazy.
They take care of business, and it's
Okay,
they're remarkable.
Do you
people.
pretty much just lock down the camera and just sit next to it?
No. I'm constantly moving around.
Okay.
Yeah, because
We
I
should
got to
get
get
him for
different
our-
angles.
We should get him for our big room shoots.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Can you crew for us?
Sure. What are the hours?
The pay is really bad.
Yeah. Well, it might be a martini at the Clausen Steakhouse.
See, now you're talking.
That's not bad.
Nope,
That's what we
that's
like
it.
to do
I'm
after
in.
the show.
I'm
but
in.
We can't today.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim Sparks, for being. Oh, why do I say Jim Sparks?
Well, because
Because
you're-
he's the drummer.
Yeah, J.C. Whitelaw.
Thanks, Jimmy Sparks.
We just talked about you so much today. Okay, thanks to J.C. Whitelaw for being our guest today, and thanks for watching another episode of the Chatty Patty
Palo Walla
Talk Show.
Hello. It's the Chatty Patty Palo Walla Talk Show. Hello. It's the Chatty Patty Palo Walla Talk
We
Show.
will talk about the things that mean so much to you, like going to a restaurant or hanging at the zoo, clothes and sports and funny news, crafts and travel too. Nothing ever scripted, so expect the unexpected.
Hello. It's the Chatty Patty Palo Walla Talk Show. It's the Chatty Patty Palo Walla Talk Show.